the New England Patriots dead for this season. I just don't see any way they can overcome the way they've looked. That game loss against the Broncos was not obviously not a COVID hangover. It was just the real showing of who they were as a team. I can't believe they played the Chiefs as close as they did. I think they were kind of playing outside of themselves there. But when you don't have, I think, 5 or 6 starters on the defensive side of the ball, and you don't have a quarterback who fits your system like Cam Newton. Cam Newton's not a guy who's making those Tom Brady tight window underneath throws. And he's not a guy at age, 32, 33, who can be running the ball 30 times a game. I don't care how big he is. He's going to get broken down eventually. He's a guy that missed almost the entire season last year. The reason why Cam Newton was not signed till the beginning of the year, which people only want to talk about, people only want to say, oh, I can't believe he wasn't signed at the end of the year when he's playing good. He looked bad for the Panthers last year, and then he got hurt. After the last 5 games of the year before that, he was bad for the Panthers because he was hurt. The Panthers and the way they ran their offense has done irreparable damage to Cam Newton. He had the really good game against the Seahawks, which apparently is more of an indicator that the Seahawks defense is not very good. He has 2 games since coming back from COVID, 5 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. I don't think it's a COVID issue. I think it's just teams have figured out if you play up on Cam Newton to stop the run, he cannot beat you with his arm, especially if you're a good defensive team like the San Francisco 49ers, who just continue to just replay parts of their team and just keep moving. A lot like the Patriots did when they were really good. They're obviously not as good as a lot of those Patriots teams, but you talk about that O-line. Joe Staley retires, one of the all-time linemen in San Francisco history. They trade for Trent Williams, who comes in, and they just continue to this run that zone option, that zone offense, that zone run offense that Mike Shanahan ran in Denver forever. And you can plug whatever running back you want into that offense, and he's going to, if you give him the carries, he's going to run for 1,000 yards. I mean, Denver had nobody. It's like, when you think about it, when he came up, Terrell Davis was a nobody coming out of college. He had a really good career there. A lot of rushing yards there, ran for 2,000 yards. Then you had guys like Reuben Drones, Orlandis Gary, Tatum Bell, Mike Bell, Mike Anderson, Clinton Portis. And then when he went to Washington with that offense, he had guys like Ryan Terrain, Rocky Highwater, Alfred Morris. It's an offense, and Kyle Shanahan runs the exact same thing. Doesn't matter if it's Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert, Carlos Hyde, Jeff Wilson Jr. I'm sure with Jeff Wilson Jr. and Raheem Mostert hurt, they'll go find somebody off the streets that can run for 80 yards in that offense behind that offensive line and create enough room for Jimmy Garoppolo to throw 5 passes a game. It's incredible to watch, and I've always loved watching just a team that can get downhill, get behind a guy, and run the ball no matter who's in the backfield. It's incredible to watch. I think the 49ers, even though the 49ers are 4-3, I think, and are in last place in that division, the best division in football. Saints-Panthers was a game that I don't really have an opinion on. I mean, Panthers are a pretty good to average team. I think they're building something really good there. Teddy Bridgewater's obviously a very good quarterback. But the Saints have proven they're, once again, a really good playoff team. It's a matter of if they can finish. They've barely played a game with Mike Thomas this year. I think Drew Brees went from looking bad early in the year. He's looked okay recently. 95% of their offense is still very clearly Alvin Kamara. They're getting some other guys involved. I think the more Jared Cook gets involved, the better this offense is. Latavius Murray on the goal line is really good. Taysom Hill. The Saints are going to be a really good playoff team. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that game because I didn't really care about it. It was a who cares game for me. The game I did care about, though, that wasn't even close, was the Washington versus Dallas game. I want to start off by saying Jonathan Bostic needs to be suspended for the rest of his career. If Vontaze Burfict made the play that Jonathan Bostic made, Vontaze Burfict would have been publicly executed on the field by Roger Goodell himself. That is a dirty play. Don't you dare hit Andy Dalton like that. He's a good person. He didn't deserve that. Andy Dalton was not the reason the Cowboys' offense looked bad. The Cowboys' offense looked bad because the Cowboys' offense is bad. And Zeke is not a good running back. He hasn't been for a while now. It's always been the O-line. Zeke Elliott has never been one of those guys that makes his O-line better. He's been a guy who's made better by his O-line. He fumbles. He drops passes. I mean, the receivers, Amari Cooper, okay. CeeDee Lamb is a very good young receiver. But if you can't run the ball and you can't protect your quarterback, it doesn't matter. The defense is atrocious. Outside of Jalen Smith, nobody on that team wants to tackle. Xavier Woods is one of the worst cornerbacks I've ever seen play consistently and start as the team's cornerback one. They have no interest in tackling. Besides Jalen, who leads the NFL in tackles, he's the only guy on the team that can tackle right now, apparently. On the other side, the Washington football team, I think, is going to win that division. I think Kyle Allen plays meh enough to win games and to not lose games. I think that Antonio Gibson's a very good running back and a weapon. If Antonio Gibson's not going to work, they have J.D. McKissick. They have, weapons. They have Terry McLaurin. They have Logan Thomas, who's their tight end, who I didn't realize until I watched the game and looked him up that he was the old Virginia Tech quarterback Logan Thomas. And that defense is... I like that defense a lot. Chase Young, Ryan Kerrigan. That defense plays intense, and they play through the ball. They play to the ball and through the ball. I like that a lot. I think the defense that puts them over the top. I think the defense, if you take every team in the NFC East, offense and defense, I think the Washington football team's defense is the best unit in the NFC East. And I'm not sure what second is. The second might be the Eagles' offense, but it's not good. Washington's defense is, I think, working on full tilt and working full tilt. I think it is a top 10 defense in the NFL. I think Chase Young is that sort of Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt difference maker on a team where he changes the entire way your offensive line has to block. It's incredible to watch that defense play and think that, I just don't see any way they don't win that division. I think they're the best team in that division easily. The Atlanta Falcons choke again. Nothing new there. Interim coach Raheem Morris. I think whoever gets that job is going to do a total rebuild. Trade Matt Ryan. Trade Julio Jones. Anybody? I don't know if there's anybody on the defense worth trading, but they're going to be gone. I think they're going to go bare bones. They'll be low enough where they could get a Trey Lance or a Justin Fields or a Zach Wilson. And I think in this NFL today where you have good contending teams that are looking for quarterbacks, you could get... I'm going to be honest with you guys. I paused it to cough, and I was talking, and I looked up, and I realized I hadn't unpaused it, so I don't know what I was talking about, but I'm going to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. They're very good. Tom Brady has his best group of weapons he's had since 2007. He's got Chris Godwin, who's a super fast receiver. He likes those. He's got this good white slot receiver in Scotty Miller. He's got Gronk, who's his best friend. He's got his go-to number one in Mike Evans. He's got a really good rookie in Tyler Johnson. He's got Robert Jones and Leonard Fournette in the backfield. So my question is, he's also got Marshall football legend Byron Leftwich calling the plays for him and kind of carrying him to a really good offense. My question is, why bring in Antonio Brown when you don't really need him on offense? Your offense is good as it is. You don't need him. But him in the locker room could be so detrimental to your team that could derail you. This seems like a very you could bottom out because of how bad he is in the locker room. Or your offense could be slightly better because it's already really good with him in it. If he's even close to the receiver he was a couple years ago, I don't think he makes that big of a difference right now. I don't think it's worth bringing him in and having him tank your locker room, especially with Bruce Arians being on record as saying he didn't want him in Tampa Bay. This is obviously like Tom Brady pulling, I want this guy, so we're going to get this guy move. I just don't get it. Also, I don't get who the Raiders are. Because one week they're beating the Chiefs, and the next week they're just getting, oh dear. Damn it. I can't believe they pulled Blake Snell in this game. I'm still watching the baseball game. I can't believe they pulled Blake Snell. They were winning this game. They were dominating the Dodgers. Blake Snell was dominating the Dodgers, and now they're down 3-1 in the bottom of the eighth. The Dodgers are going to win the World Series. Congratulations on your fake World Series, LA. You need a 60-game season to finally get there and not mess it up. Bunch of bums. You need to trade for the best player in baseball. It's not a real World Series. LA doesn't get to claim this World Series. They still have 0. What a bunch of losers these guys are. Screw this. But yeah, who are the Raiders? Who really cares? Justin Herbert had a good game, I guess. I mean, it's always good to be second best, Justin Herbert. Especially when you're playing with a whole bunch of good receivers and have a really good defense behind you. It's really good that even with a great defense, it took you 4 games to win your first game. That's awesome, dude. Congratulations. Great job. At least you're going to be better than Tua. Sunday night game, I didn't watch any of it. I was tired. I went to bed, I think, at like 9. But I woke up, watched some of the highlights. The Cardinals look really good. Kyler Murray's a star. DeAndre Hopkins is the best receiver in the NFL. Christian Kirk's a good second receiver. Andy Isabella's good. Budda Baker is an elite safety for the Cardinals who don't have really anything else on defense. The Seahawks are still my pick to to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC. Russell Wilson, I think, still the MVP. They really need Jamal Adams back. They need to probably add somebody else on defense. I don't know who they would add. The Seahawks, I think, are still the number 1 team in the NFC. I think the Cardinals have affirmed their spot as a very good playoff team. I think it's going to be between them, the Rams, and the 49ers going to be fighting for those playoff spots. But, I mean, who knows? It's early in the season. We'll get later in the season, and we'll decide who gets playoff spots and who doesn't get playoff spots, I guess. So I'll pick 3 winners from the week this week in the NFL, and I'll pick 3 losers of the week in the NFL. The 3 losers we'll do first. The Dallas Cowboys, they're done. Mike McCarthy, I think, should be fired at the end of this year. He's ruined like a good football team. The Dak injury obviously is what it is. The offensive line's awful. I think Jerry Jones would never do it. But I think if the best thing for the Cowboys right now would be trade Zeke, let Dak walk, trade Amari Cooper, and just try to build with the young guys other than Zeke, because Zeke's not good anymore. So they're the losers, 25-3 loss to the Washington football team. They're done for the year, I think. I think they're cooked. Other losers, Atlanta. They choked. Todd Gurley, for whatever reason, scored. It's the exact same play as the couple or the Super Bowl 2011 where the Patriots let Ahmed